We're live. All right. Good afternoon, good evening, good night. Whoever is joining live. Hi, I'm Smart Conserver, and I'm welcoming you to our live today. I have two persons on the live presently. I'm just asking you to please give your thumbs up. Please. I can't really see it, however, it will be good if you give your thumbs up. All right. Well, you're there, Storm Chaser. That's good. So I see one thumbs up. I'm not sure if there's another. Storm Chaser, did you give your thumbs up? All right. Now, today, the question is really being asked of you. So the question is, what have you done or what are you doing to conserve? That's the question that is being asked. Before we get into that though, I'll just give you a guide as to some of the things that you can do in order to conserve. Now, conservation. Hi, Bruno. Now, conservation is all about what it is that you can do to protect yourself from paying this huge light bill or the huge water bill, or it might be even to do things yourself. So, whatever it is that you're doing, we're trying to conserve in all of that. And there's a bigger picture in conservation. And the bigger picture is it honestly saves the environment when you do some of these things to conserve, it protects the environment. So while you may look on the bigger, well, for me, I look on the bigger picture as my pocket, there is yet another bigger picture, which is the environment. And it's always good to honestly have a bigger picture because we'll honestly make this thing more sustainable, not only for ourselves, but also for future generations to come. They will gain the benefit and enjoy whatever it is that we live in this world for them. All right. Now we're going to start with some basic things, such as what is some of the simple things that you can do to hi Vito. Some of the simple things that you can do. Hi Azevedo. Some of the simple things that you can do to protect yourself or to conserve in even at home. One of the three things that come to mind sometimes is reduce, reuse, and recycle. Now, we need to cut down sometimes on some things that we even throw away. And some of the things that we throw away, we can make use of it. So, take for instance, we have our kitchen scraps. Those are the ones that are natural, not the not like a tin or processed meat, not those things. So we're talking about some food stuff here, like if we have the peelings, orange skin, banana skin, we can put that in a compost heap. That's one way we can recycle some of the things that we have. I've seen where some of the man-made things that they have, um, some of the man-made things that we have, human beings have been able to reuse it. I have what's it called again? A planter that they made out of plastic bottles. It's rather light. It looks heavy, but it's light. And they use the plastic bottles to make it. I honestly love it. I loved it so much that I wanted one more, but it was way too expensive out of my league. So, and I would not have attempted to make it. So I made a different one instead. Another way is for us to educate ourselves. So, educate yourself as to what it is that you can do to protect your environment and conserve in the interim. So, protection is key, honestly. Um, Yeah, protection is key. It's always good to be educated on some things. Yes, some of the things that I'm speaking of may be a bit technical. However, it is sometimes beneficial for you so that if a workman should come and doing these things, you understand what he's doing. It's they sometimes come, and when they know that you know what you're doing or you know what they are doing, they tend to charge you less. The cost will go down. Um, it won't be as high because they can't trick you. There's a thing in computer where they said ID10T, which honestly spells idiot. When you hear that they say when you ask them what's the problem and they say it's an ID10T, is idiot they're really calling you. So when you're aware, they can't trick you. They can't call you that because you're aware of what is happening. Some of the things that we need to be educated about would be, I know that beta is after the thanks, Storm. So some of the things that we can educate ourselves about is just some of these simple gadgets or operations. I've shown you some gadgets in the past, like the timer. And we're going to speak a little about a timer, how you can carry it and to be careful about what it is that you're, well, how you place it then within the home. So educate yourself, be in the know, please. Once you're in the know, then you're game, you're good. Another thing on our list is to conserve. And we're not conserving only water, we're conserving electricity as well. So if we conserve, it says that the less water you use, the less runoff and the less wastewater will eventually lead up into the ocean. Remember, conservation is key. So that is on the water side. The part where the electricity comes in, we feel it in our pockets. So if we can eliminate some of this from burning our pockets, especially nowadays, things are not easy. I can tell you. Some persons have it so hard that they have to be cutting costs with certain things. So if you can find a way, just see how best it is that you can find a way to conserve water or electricity or even the monies that you have. Don't waste, please. Another way is to choose sustainability things, so things that are sustainable. So you're not going to go out there. So take for instance, you want a timer. I've seen I've seen some persons go out there and they buy a timer. I've honestly heard someone say to me that they bought a timer, but it was a wrong one. So they bought the analog timer instead of the digital timer. You remember the digital timer that I showed you? Anybody remembered? So we have like this. So like this one is a digital timer. So some persons go out there and they ask for a timer. You also have the analog ones. So we need to create things that are sustain. We need to buy things that are sustainable. You have a analog timer. It's not going to well, it's not going to work for the intended purpose that you really wanted it for. So the analog timers, I think persons tend to use it on like you have a lamp, you want that lamp to come in, so it has this ticking dial that it goes on. I think it goes on in a clockwise position. So it has that ticking timer that persons you honestly can hear it. So it's on the equipment or it's on the device, the light or whatever it is. It can't work for the fridge, please. It can't. So it has that timer on it. The best type of timer for your refrigerator is the digital one, like I showed you. That's the best timer. And I'll speak with you after about it. No, yeah, like a clock. So you have that type of thing. Please go out there and buy the right stuff. Don't buy the incorrect one, because if you buy the incorrect one, you have to go back. You have to go back and buy the correct one. All right. Another thing is plant a tree. Yeah, especially where we are and we have some dreaded summers. We live in a tropical climate. We don't experience snow here any at all. So because we live in a tropical climate, it makes sense to plant a tree so that when the time is really hot, your home or wherever it is, it will be covered. And tree encourages wind, the breeze to come in. So plant a tree, plant up, plant up. I'm not telling you to make your place overcrowded, please. Just plant up. Um, Another thing is, please don't use a lot of chemicals, because when you use a lot of chemicals, you will send these chemicals into the wastewater and it eventually end up in the ocean. And the use of these plastic bags, we have to try and conserve, people, please. All right. So with that said, any question, any suggestion, or any ideas, if you can tell me what is it that you are doing. Remember, it's about you today. So you have to tell me what is it that you're doing to conserve. And if you have any success stories, I welcome that. In the interim, since as there is none, I'd like to show you something. I remember I told you about the digital timer. I have been encouraging persons to buy this digital timer and they have been purchasing. Thank you. Some persons have some nice success stories. However, these type of plugs or these types of timer were really made to stand up. So you have the plug here and you really put it to stand up. And there's a reason why it tends to be like that. Remember, the plug would be on the wall itself. So when you plug that timer inside of it, yes, Bruno, we are stronger together. So when you plug that timer inside of it, it does stand up as well. What I have seen recently, I've honestly never heard of it before. I didn't know that persons would have placed the timer in certain positions. So recently, somebody that I knew, she purchased one, um, and I've programmed that timer probably about 3 times. I've tried to program it. The first time, she said that it wasn't keeping the charge, but then when I got it back, the program that I placed in there, it was in there. So we felt that it was something wrong with the timing. So I altered the time a bit, and altering the time, then it got worse. She came back and she told me that it just stopped. Nothing wasn't coming out of it, but the clock display. As a matter of fact, I pulled it up. I don't know if you can see it. I pull it up, I dismantle it, I screw it out, and because I wanted to see what really was wrong. And I can show you. I don't know if you see the display is still on. It has a time on the display here. It is still active. And see it? It's pulled apart. So it's still active. This thing reminds me of when we were in school, and you know when you dissect the frog, but the heart of the frog is really dead, but the heart of the frog was still beating. This reminds me of it. The only difference is the heart of this timer, it stopped beating. The only thing that is really functional at this point is the display. All right. Now, ironically, it, the timer have, and I'll show you what it has in. It was rather surprising to see that it didn't have in a lot. Just these things. I don't know if you're seeing See this here? This is the section here. There's 3 of them in here. And this one, this is the resistor. So it has 3 resistors in the one unit. One of the 3 resistors, I honestly don't know how it got moisture on it, but it got moisture on it. So it had some white things on there to tell you that it really had that moisture. And one of them burned up. You see how small it is? Look at it. See these? It's really small. So because it was small, it honestly wouldn't make any sense to pull it, to desolder it. It has, you see that? The solder connection. It really wouldn't make any sense to desolder it, because you might desolder it, and when you desolder it, one more gone. So it honestly wouldn't make no sense. So we have 3 resistors. This red thing right here, the red, that's the capacitor. See it? Capacitor. And this one, the round one here, see this one, that's the condenser. This green thing right here, this is a battery. So the battery it's not really some of the little flat batteries, that's not this, because this is about probably about a 1/4 inch. It's not a 1/2 inch, so it's about a 1/4 inch. And because the batteries are in, then you get this. So because the battery, it's obvious that so far the only thing that I'm sure of that is good is the battery. I don't know. Oh, and this thing here is a relay. No, what the relay does is it allows the timer when programmed to switch. So what it will do is, because I had programmed it for, I think I had programmed it to turn on at 7 o'clock. I think that's the time that she told me to program it. So I had programmed it to come on at 7 and come off at probably 9 o'clock. So this is what we do, that this is what would have switched it out from the different time. And we had done that timing thing for 7 days a week. So it would have switched it out for that 7 days a week. So we have resistor, we have capacitor, we have condenser, we have the battery, and we have the relay. You see these 2 green thing, this green one and this red one, those are LED lights. Now what happened is, you're able to tell on and off with these lights when it is all assembled up. And this is just a regular plug on the connection itself, which allows what the relay would do is send the signal to the plug to say no electricity, or send back the signal to the plug to say, okay, bring in that electricity now so that the fridge can be powered on. That's what this really does. I had expected more inside here, but it's just a basic, simple operation. I guess probably that's why it's not as expensive. But if this didn't have any moisture, then she would have been good. She wouldn't have any issue with it. However, when I inquired, I realized that she had it like this. So it sits up like this. And when it is sitting up like this, remember I told you that it needs to be like this. So when it sits up, I have another piece to it. What did I do with it? Yeah, this is it. So when it sits up like this, then that's where the issue is. That is where the issue is, because anything can go in there, anything can, just a drop. Honestly, it's all it needs. That's all it needs, just a drop of water, and that's it. It's done. It's no more. So we have to be careful, please. Please, I'm asking you, please be careful with these things, that when you purchase them, make sure that you get a long life out of it. And if you feel that it's not in the right position, chances are really not in the right position either. If you feel that it's not in there, it's really not in the right position. And I don't know if you realize, moisture is in the air. It's honestly in the air. Some of us have more moisture at home than others. Some of us, the little moisture that we have, we can live with, or some of us get the moisture when, if it's raining outside. I can't remember having this rain for a while here because we have been having a drought recently. But if we have rain, then you'll get moisture. And to know if you're having a moisture problem, sometimes some persons buy some things. No, it's not. It doesn't make any sense to repair this, because you repair this, and or you attempt to repair it, one of the, like I said, I know for a fact that one of the resistors, it's gone, and you might attempt to repair it, and then the other one gone as well. So it doesn't make any sense, honestly. Yeah, one of the way how I know sometimes that there's moisture, especially inside, if you have a salt, if you have a salt bottle, yeah, if you have a salt bottle and that salt bottle is open, that salt get wet. Yes, it does get wet. So we have to be careful, guys. Please make sure that you place these things in a secure location, free from some of these things that it may experience, like the moisture. I tell you, you can't be too careful. So make sure it's always in the standing position, because the simplest little water or something that gets into it, it's gone. And it may mean buying another one. This one was purchased in Jamaica. Because of what happened, I didn't encourage her to go back that route again, because you may have gone that route and you regret it. So the best thing to do for her, I told her the best thing that she should have done was to just buy one on the internet. Just buy one on the internet. Um, so that's it for the timer. I am honestly sorry that it had to go for her. And there was another thing that I noticed too. It had a slight crack. I'm not sure if you could see it. It's like a hairline crack. It had a hairline crack on it. For me, I thought that something had dropped on it, and whatever it was that had dropped on it, it damaged it. And either it's a pop or something, I don't know, because to how she stated that she had it, it was on a flat surface. So it posed a problem where it was. Like I said, I'm disappointed that it failed her, because she didn't have it for a long while. I was disappointed, but nevertheless, we have to move on. And like I said, whatever conservation method we use, we have to make sure that it is sustainable. So if sustainability means that you have to take care as to where you put these stuff, please, we have to. It doesn't make any sense putting the things in a position where something can damage it. Put it at a position where kids won't touch it. It can't be damaged easily. We have to prepare ourselves for some of these things, and we have to think about the worst thing that can happen. We honestly have to think about the worst that can happen. So we have it on a shelf or a table. Like, think of something dropping in it. Think of water catching it. So if it makes sense, we can probably move it the next time. Don't put it back there. Find a way. I understand her position at the time, where it was, and that it had to be there at the time, but I don't know if I want to. I would recommend putting back another one there, but let's see. The choice is not mine, really. The choice is honestly not mine. Anybody have any questions? All right. Back now to conservation. I think all of you may have known some of the things that I've used to conserve. I have taken steps to make my conservation or use more conservation methods. It's I would say it's this conservation has been a journey. It still is a journey. I have you ever heard her talk about self-actualization? That's a position that I would love to be in, where I conserve until I can't conserve anymore. I have conserved my maximum capacity to my maximum capacity. I am not there yet. I do have waste that I need to rein in, control. However, like I always say, that conservation should not be a burden. Stormy said, someone gave me a 1,000 watt inverter. So you're on the move. 1,000 watt. What are you going to do with that 1,000 watt inverter? Yeah, it's a good move, but what are you going to do with it? Because it can run a lot of things, but you need a power for it. And it depends on how you're setting it up. So you need a power for it. Um, I have, you don't know yet. All right, fine. If you should need ideas, then I'm here to assist. I know that for the 1,000 watt, the 1,000 watt can run my refrigerator. I know it can run it. It can run my TV. I know it can run my TV. I know it can run my refrigerator. It can run a lot of things that I do have here. However, you need to just decide what it is that you want to run. So probably know that you got the was Storm? Was it, are you sure it is good? Did you test it? Did you test it? You say it was given to you. Did you test it? Because sometimes you're sure it wasn't burnt. So they say about what? That it is good. They said that it is good, right? I hope that is what you're saying. I hope that it is good as well. Because okay, fine. Sometimes some persons give us these things and they have a fault. We really would like to ensure that whatever it is that we're given, it can be used. So if it's good, then it can be used for a lot of things. It just depends on what you want to run. I have explained in the past that some persons will never go solar. Some persons have planned to go solar incrementally. Some persons have planned to while not going solar, still institute measures in their home where they take certain things off the grid. And for those who don't understand, when I say on the grid really mean you're attached to the power company. I got a call recently about a person who has Airbnb, and he wants to eliminate our power company. Please, I'm explaining to you, you can't do that. um he showed you, oh, he plugged a fan in it. Oh, but the fan doesn't really use a lot. So once you said the fan was powered, then fine, good, you're okay. I have heard recently where someone want to come off the grid. People, it doesn't go like that. The country or the government has awarded a power company for the country. The only way you cannot use them, and when I say use, I'm not talking about plugging everything in. The only way you cannot have them running any electrical wires into towards your home for you to access this electricity is if you're going to use them like a generator. So take for instance, you should go solar, where and it's a one that is off grid. You still have access to them, and you should have access to them. The only persons who would not have access to them any at all are the persons who live in such a rural community that there's no way possible that they can get electricity up there. That's the only set of persons who would escape it. But once you live in a community that has this form of electricity, then you have to use that power company like a generator. And like a generator, I mean you're going to use your system full time. So this is your system over here, and you're using your system full time. However, you have them like a backup. So in case your batteries go down, you pull on them. That's what it really means to have them like a generator. But you have to have it coming in your home because that is what the government has signed to and agreed to. Just like with water sometimes for some communities have to be using those water people, or some of them will have a private well that is used to facilitate the entire community. But whatever it is, under that regime, you have to use it. So you can't just have this power company coming in your homes and are putting sending that form of electricity to your home, and you take up yourself and say you don't want to use them. You're going to still get a bill. Yeah, the bill is minimal. I think you pay something like, if it's not, I think it's between $250. I think it's $250 to $500 monthly. I think that's the amount that you pay. It's not a whole lot using them like a generator. It's just I think that's a charge I call service charge. So you can still get this electricity like a backup. So whatever it is that you're doing, please remember, once it is already installed, then you can only use them as a generator. If you are planning to go solar for the grid tied, you still have reliance on them because it has to be tied onto them. It has to be tied onto their system, and tying it onto their system would mean you still would use them if you have a cloudy day or it's night, so you still would use them. So that's a different story altogether. But for the persons who are planning to go off grid, you still need them as a generator. Hybrid is the same thing. You still need them. So whatever it is that you're planning to do to conserve, then you need to think about it. And on top of thinking about it, it means that you have put things in place to make it easier on you. Like I say, not everybody will go solar. Not everyone you see will go solar fully. However, it is workable, it is doable. I've seen persons who they just use the solar generators. So they use the solar generator, and they want to watch the news, they plug the television set into their solar generators, and that's what they use daily. For me, I'm not sure if I want to go through that hassle. I think if I have a solar generator, then I want it set. So if I plan to use my solar generator on my radio, I want it set on my radio. So that in case my radio goes down, then I would probably have something as a backup for it. However, pulling my system off, the electricity, pulling my devices or whatever it is that I'm pulling off the grid would be onto that solar generator. That's what I want a solar generator for. Is there any question, or are you understanding what I'm saying? Are you understanding? Are you getting the understanding of what I'm saying in terms of conservation and things that you can do? It's rather depressing sometimes, especially at the end of the at the end thanks storm. It's rather depressing sometimes, especially at the end of the month when persons receive this bill and the level of frustration now kicks in, where you have this amount of money and your bill is here. It's rather depressing. It it's not a nice thing to know that your bills is higher than whatever it is that you're going home with. So the best thing to do is to try and get those bills down. Get them down. Do whatever it is that you can conserve. And like I say, sometimes it's just that we have the wasted electricity. So we have the wasted electricity. We can try and exactly, Storm. It's not easy. It's not an easy thing to have. It's not an easy thing to. Jesus, 1 minute. It's not an easy thing at times where we have this level of responsibility and we can't maintain it or we can't achieve it. It's rather frustrating. It honestly is. So we have to try and see what we can do to conserve. And the little you can do, it helps because it sometimes means that we can save and save incrementally. So this month we try reduce, probably it might mean plugging out the fridge, because for the persons who may have lost their, yeah, we soon touch that, Storm. So for the persons who may have had their equipment damaged during the process, it may be you have it on a surge and the surge got hit. We have to find another way to see how we can save until you get the funds to purchase this replacement. Now the water, yes, the water is another issue. For us here, we currently have a drought that is going on, and with this drought, we are not supposed to do certain things with the water because it's rather limited. So they encourage you not to wash your cars. It's rather it's it's rather hurtful though sometimes to see the plants, and especially those that have the food on it, really diminish. I'm currently watching a planting. I'll soon tell you where you can get a surge protector. I'm currently watching a planting sucker, and not a sucker, a planting tree, and I see it going down, and I'm wondering if the householders don't see it going down. I've never seen that tree being watered, but it was always flourishing. And I think the reason why it is going down is because of the drought. So the time gets drier, and the nutrients that is, or the moisture that is normally in the soil, we don't have it. So because we don't have those things, the simplest little breeze is going to lift that dirt and send it all over the place. So we're having that problem now that we have the drought. Where you can get a good surge protector, it depends on what you're putting that surge protector on. I've seen where persons tend to buy the flat surge protector with the two plugs that is sold out here. So the flat surge protectors with the two plugs, you can get them here. However, like I say, it depends on what you're using it for. The I think for the fridge one, there's one that is made for the fridge. It looks something like the timer. It doesn't have a display. It looks something like it have a red and green LED light, and it has a plug. However, I don't understand the language, but I'm gladly supporting. Thank you. Can you explain to Bruno, please, that you can type in your language, he will do the translation. You can explain to him that we're asking what it is that he's doing to conserve. All right, so for the surge protectors for the refrigerator, that one should be a standing one, just like the timer, so that it eliminates anything getting into it. But what persons have been doing is getting the flat ones, so that's the one that they put on the ground for the refrigerator. While that one is not bad, you have to be careful sometimes where you put it. And please, some of what we are calling surge protectors are not surge protectors, they are just power strips. So power strips would be, I can't say how much plugs surge protectors should have. It's rather impossible with the advent of technology. Men have been making these surge protectors with multiple plugs. So it's hard to say that it should have one plug or two plug. It's rather hard. The best thing to do when you're looking for it is to find out how much joules, and it's Joules, how much joules the surge protector that you're buying contain. And if you remember in a vlog that I did, I said to you, the number of joules will decrease if it gets a hit. So you say, take for instance that you buy, let me see if I can write it down. So you buy a surge protector that has 25,000. It has 25,000 joules, right? Now, when you buy the surge protector, yeah, it's new. However, with it may take a series of hits, and each time this thing gets a surge that hits it, you lose some joules. So you may start off with 25, but one day you end up with nothing at all. So say you get the first hit where you got a surge coming in to the house, and it may take off, say, 5,000 joules. Then you're left with 20,000 joules. You're left with 20,000 joules. You can speak to Bruno in English, Once you ask him, speak to him in English, and he will type it. Yes. So you have 20,000 joules left. And the saddest part about those surge protectors are you get 20,000 left. You don't know that it has 20,000 left. You know you purchased it with 25,000. So in your head, there's this 25,000. You may not have that 25,000. So please don't think that whatever you start off with, you're going to end up with it. Now, when it reaches the point when there's no joules left, the next time you get a hit, it's going to damage that surge protector. So you may have your surge protectors, and one day you just see go. And if it goes like that, then it means all the juice inside of it has gone. You can't tell that surge that hits doesn't come in a uniform jewels. So it may take 5,000 now, the next time it take 3,000, the next time it might take all 20,000 that you really had. You can't tell with a surge. So most of the times, the best thing to do is to buy a surge protector that has a high jewel rating. So get it, and please make sure. I don't even think if you buy that out here, they will tell you how much jewels the search has when you buy it. So that is why sometimes I rather buy my things online where I have the capability, the capacity to, I have the capacity to really tell what I want out of it. So when I do that, it's easier on me. So please, please, people, please remember that these search protectors, they don't last forever. So you will have right, it doesn't last forever. So make sure that you get one with a high jewel rating. And if you get one with a high jewel rating, then please be mindful that if you constantly get these surges, it's going to hit it one day and it will go. Thank you, Bruno. Some persons get some persons get these surge protectors and it may go within a couple of months. Some persons it lasts them a couple of years. Some persons is like these surge protectors can't go bad. And it depends on you or not you. It depends on how your house is and the amount of surge that it will get. So I might live here and I don't get any surge. So if I start off with a 25 joules surge protector, I might honestly end up with a 25 joules, while other persons who live probably nearer to or the higher up in where a hill is, and these rain, they should experience rain, then fine. That's the issue. So you have to be mindful of your needs. What is it that you want to determine how you go forward in buying a surge protector? And please, please, please remember, some of what we call surge protectors are not surge protectors, they are power strips. They are power strips. So because of that, I tend not to buy certain things here because I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid somebody's going to sell me a power strip, because like I say, you can't see jewels. You may see it written on the back of it. You may see it written on the back of it, but you really can't see it. Because if they were using it and 5,000 gone out of it, you really don't have 5,000 anymore. You have less. So please be careful. And you remember, we're talking about educate. You need to educate yourself on certain things before you go and buy, so that you're aware of what it is that exactly that you want. Did I answer the question for you, Storm? Please make sure that you choose one that has a high jewel rating so that you won't be disappointed. Okay, fine. Any more questions? Um, Another thing too that I've seen is that persons sometimes, yeah, you know that these things need protecting, but because they don't have the money, sometimes they don't have the money, so they honestly don't see the importance of protecting your devices. Some devices is they're going to need protection. So like you have your television set. If you have your television set plugged in, it's going to need protection. Don't take it for granted. Protect it. If you have especially that refrigerator, the refrigerator is going to need that protection that you can give it. Don't take that one for granted, because it's so expensive. You may end up having to buy a surge protector this time and a refrigerator. So you need to be careful. And power surge is not dependent on the person who it hits. It can hit any of us. any one of us. So we have to be careful. Just look out for these things and make sure that you protect your devices. Any more questions? Um, Another thing too is in terms of conservation, I remember saying that you don't only conserve. Yes, to what? You have a question, Storm? Go ahead. You don't only conserve water and electricity. You can conserve anything. Anything you want, you can conserve it. I always tell people that I conserve my money. And how I do that is to do things myself. So there are things that I don't buy. There are things that I honestly don't purchase any at all. And the reason is because I try to find a way to grow it myself or do it myself. So that saves me a whole lot. It saves me a whole lot when I do certain things myself. Right. It saves you when you do things yourself. I have done some amazing things and I have saved some amazing money. So while it is, you may look on it to say you can't do it, give it a try. It may be something as simple as cutting a plastic bottle to put a plant in. It may mean that you don't have the money at the time, at this present point in time, to buy a planter. It might mean you don't have the money at this present time to buy a planter. However, see what you can do. Because you're honest, if you really need that flower pot, then you have to try and find a way. You have to. Remember, there's this thing that says whenever your back is against the wall, then you adapt. So some of the times when you see us doing certain things, we haven't adapted. We haven't adapted. We're making do with what we have, and we're still trying to stretch what we have to make do, but we have to adapt. It may mean that you take that seed out of that sweet pepper, or you take the pepper seed and you plant it. You plant it. You may pay $150 a pound for sweet pepper at the time. Probably you might buy half pound. It depends on whatever it is that your pocket can afford. Don't throw away the seed. Try planting it. Plant it in pots or buckets. And let me tell you, thank you, Storm. I've heard that before, that I'm very smart. Let me explain something to you about even that planting thing that we're doing. I have space where I can plant in the dirt. I have space around the back where I can plant certain things. However, for me, I rather plant in pots. I rather plant in buckets and pots. Currently now I have a pineapple that is growing, and that pineapple was growing when I least expected that pineapple to grow. I think it grew not on neglect, because I don't neglect my plants. However, I only got to see or really scrutinize my plants on a weekend because I had a lot of things coming at me, especially during the week for the last 2 weeks. So because I had a lot of things coming at me, yeah, I have the pine on the channel. Well, it has gotten, it has grown and grown a little bit more up. So I have taken the picture of it. I'm going to put it as a profile picture because I do like seeing those growth. However, the thing is that even with the pineapple itself, I have planted that pineapple top. I can't remember when. However, when I buy my planting, not my planting, my pineapple in the market, I would tend to take off the top. Yeah, see you watching. I see you watching my channel, Storm Chase. I do see it. So when I take off that pineapple top, I would take off the outer coating of it. Thank you, Bruno. I was told that I'm very smart. Thanks, Storm, and thanks, Bruno. I have taken off the top of, not the top, some of the spikes off it, and I placed that in water just to get root. After I got the root, then I planted that in a bucket. Now, I have realized that when I planted that pine in the ground where I have the space, whenever the rain fall, too much water settles at that spot. It has too much moisture. So I tend to lose pineapples there. When I realized what was happening, then I started planting my pineapples in buckets. And I realized this is my second time where I'm having success planting my pineapples in buckets. And I think I rather planting my produces in buckets because of there's this thing that you have to rotate your crops. A farmer will tell you if he has a farm and on this farm he plants, say, cabbage. So he plants up a farm load of cabbage. Whenever he reaps that cabbage, he cannot plant back cabbage there. He has to plant back something that will put nutrients in the ground. So he may take up that cabbage and the next time he plants string beans. Now, because of my method of planting in buckets, it may mean that if I take out a cabbage out of a bucket, I can just sow my string beans in there to put back whatever nutrients in that soil. I don't move the dirt, I don't do anything more than just plant my string beans. And my soil is once again nourished. Thank you, Storm. Um, Storm says that every week he waits on my videos to release to watch. Yes, I noticed that. And thank you for your comments and your thumbs up. Um, so we have to find a method. You can't take one plant out of that bucket and plant it back again. What will happen is you'll not get the required yield that you're looking for. Probably I think it was in August. Well, I was told that it was August last year that I asked someone to buy a sweet pepper plant for me, and I've been having nice success stories from my sweet pepper plant. I think I have something like that on a short. I did a short on it. I went around there and two of the sweet peppers were ripe. I love sweet peppers, so I will keep the sweet pepper plant. However, when that sweet pepper should go, then I'm not going to put a sweet pepper in there. So it makes it easier to rotate your crops and have variety of crops going at the same time if you have them in buckets. Yeah, you see that too. Like you said, we're smart. So I'm honestly training you to be smart as well. I'm honestly training you to be sustainable, to ensure that whatever it is that you're doing, you can live. Because that's all we want to do. We just want to live. So whatever it is, you can live yourself and enjoy it. And please, please, like I always say, don't make conservation a burden. It shouldn't be a burden because if you practice certain method, then it will come naturally. So if you practice even just plugging out something after you have used it, it will come naturally. Where like a reflex, you finish watching the television, then you plug it out. You turn it off and you plug it out. So it will become the norm for you if after you have started doing whatever it is that you're doing. So like I say, conservation have a lot of different aspects to it. I had really hoped that you would have participated more and shared who it is that you're conserving. I'm wondering sometimes though if you guys are shy to type. I think one day I'm going to do a stream where you can call in. I would love to do a stream one day where you can call in and just share what it is that you are doing. If there is no other question, it is now 7 o'clock and my stream tend to go for 1 hour. I would like to thank you for joining my live stream. And please, for those persons who haven't, please do that thumbs up. Put the thumbs up. The thumbs up. Storm Chaser would say the thumbs up is free. And yes, guys, it's free. So just put it there. It will assist not only you but others to find the channel and get some meaningful contribution that they can use now and in the future. So thank you again for joining the live, and we're ending it now.